Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to first of all say Happy New Year. The last video I did was the booktube newbie, and then I kind of just bailed. I think in that video I mentioned how I talked myself out of like continuing with YouTube, even though I want to and I love the community. And it's probably like 90% of what I watch. If I watch TV, it's typically YouTube. So I decided to just jump right back in and not get myself too psyched about it. Okay, we are back. My husband just called me. But, so for this first video back, I just kind of wanted to, talk about like my goals for 2024. It is January 17th, so it's kind of halfway through the month already, but it's okay. Typically when the new year starts, I like to process the previous year and then see if there are things I want to change or things I want to do more of, that kind of thing. So it takes me obviously a few weeks to kind of wrap my head around the new year and like set any goals if I have any goals or like intentions and stuff like that. So for this year, I decided to do pretty much the same thing I did last year, like when it comes to reading goals. Instead of putting like 100 books or 50 books or kind of like that, the way that typically doesn't work for me because it causes me more anxiety, I think, than it should. I know there are a lot of people who like to like dream, like, put a big number and reach their goals, and it's great. But for me, that kind of doesn't work. I've learned that over the years. So what I like to do is I set that goal as like a minimum goal. So for example, if worst case scenario, if I am super busy or super swamped or I can't get to reading as much as I'd like, I still would like to read a minimum of 12 books this year. And that equals to 1 book per month. So again, I do read a lot more than that, but I like to think of like worst case scenario, 12 books is still like a good number, I think, to read in a year. Like I can see myself taking a whole month, if it's a super busy month, to read a book. And again, there are some months I will read. So like let me back up a little bit. I'm a mood reader. So with that, there are sometimes like a month where I might just read 1 book, if that. But then there are months I read like 6 books in 1 month. So it just depends. So I think setting that 12, like those 12 books as like the goal, I think that's a good number for me. Second goal is that I want to read, like incorporate more classics into my reading. So I used to read a lot more classics, obviously like when I was in high school, because I was in like honors and like AP classes and all that. So I had to do a lot of like classic, like reading classic books and like writing essays and doing research and all of that. So I think after a while I kind of got burnt out, so I stopped reading classics. But it's been many, many years since I've done that. So I figured I should probably start incorporating some of the classics into my reading, because a lot of the books we read today are inspired or have little Easter eggs from classic books. So I want to do that. I want to read some, and not just like books we have today, but like a lot of movies too. They have a lot of like the similar plot lines as like super classic books. So I want to get more into the classics in literature. So I think I don't really have a set number of classic books I want to read this year, but I want to read some classics. The third and last goal that I have is I also want to read some books in Spanish. So I am fluent in Spanish. Spanish is and was my first language. I learned English in school and through watching PBS Kids. So, you know, PBS has a special place in my heart. But yeah, I know how to read it, and I kind of know how to write it. I don't know. I would say I know how to write it, but I don't know the accents. So I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, like, I am fluent in writing in Spanish. Like, no, I wouldn't. But I do know how to read it. And if, you know, in case of an emergency, I know how to write it. So I want to read books in Spanish. However, I don't think... Well, I don't know, actually. And this is something I'll experiment with, I guess, this year. But I think I'm more of a, like, middle grade to, like, young adult, like, reading level, you know? Because I think if I were to read, like, a full-blown, like, regular literature in Spanish, I might be Googling a lot of the words and, like, a lot of, you know, because a lot of the books that are translated into Spanish are, like, Spain Spanish, not Mexican Spanish. So there's going to be words where I'm going to be like, I don't know what that means. So yeah, I'll probably bring you guys along that. I'll probably share, like, any books I read in Spanish. But I think I'm going to go see what my library has to offer, or, like, any, like, ebooks that are in Spanish, and probably start reading that way, because I do want to practice that muscle a lot more, like the reading one, because Spanish, I speak Spanish every single day of my life, so I'm good there. But, like, reading it, I don't read it as much as I used to, so I do want to pick up books in Spanish. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are my 3 goals. So my number goal is 12 books, because I like to, you know, worst case scenario, 12 books. And then read more classic literature, and then read books in Spanish. Again, I don't have a number for the Spanish books, but I'll read books in Spanish. So I hope to read books in Spanish, but yeah. So I'll talk to you guys next time. I hope you guys are having a great start to the year, and if not, it's okay. It's up to us how big or how big of a deal we make the new year. So if you are one of those people who love New Year's, great, enjoy it, have fun. And if you're one of the people that don't really enjoy it, it's okay. It's okay to hibernate a little bit. It's okay to, like, you know, take a break, take a step back. It's okay. We're all gonna get through this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.